Hi, this is Shannon McIntyre. Thank you so much for attending the workshop earlier today. Sorry about those of you that weren't able to get connected. I'm just going to go through the PowerPoint now so that you can get the app suggestions and give you a little bit of background on what might help you with your technology and middle school child struggles. So, just a brief background. If you're here, you've probably tried everything and you're probably frustrated or saddened or disheartened or a combination of all of them. And I feel like, to a degree, anyone that works with middle school children feels that way, but parents especially oftentimes seek support in a way that is actually practical. And hopefully, by the end of this presentation, you'll be able to get that. So, today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you research based, cutting edge solutions to help your family with your child's tech concerns. And also, if you need anything afterwards, please feel free to give me a call. I absolutely love what it is that I do, and I am hoping to be able to support with something that I believe is an actual societal shift that's occurred. And I think a lot of parents are backpedaling, and I can definitely understand why. So, the very first fact, research has come out and it has confirmed what it is that many of us have already known. Technology is addictive. It is definitely addictive. And with any addiction, there is a withdrawal period. So, if you have seen your child cry, scream, wake up in the middle of the night to play video games, throw things, or get upset in a way that doesn't match their personality, technology is addictive, and the connection that kids think that they're getting from the technology is not real world. So what a lot of the research says is get them outside, do things with them, offer them alternatives, and you probably have already tried that. So I'm not going to say that that's wrong. That is definitely what you need to be doing. But if you've already tried that, we're going to get into the black and white nuts and bolts of what you can do to detach your kid from technology in just a minute. And fact number two is what research has said, that breaking the addiction is not impossible. It's going to be painful, though. And that, I think, is a big thing that parents have to sort of accept, because nobody wants to see their child going through a serious struggle. It's painful, it's physically painful. And your family will end up closer afterwards if you're able to do this now as opposed to later. So, if you've already tried the veering your child onto alternatives, if you've already made the suggestions about going outside with their friends or having, play dates or movie dates or things like that, and those things are not breaking the cycle, and you can still feel that bond with the technology is there, you really have to start, and this is all based on research, this isn't just what it is that I'm saying, but you really have to start taking a look at it from two main topics: boundaries and monitoring. And I'm going to get into why on the next slide, but I just want to give you a bit of background. So please don't click off, because a lot of parents think that boundaries and monitoring is going to create more stress. But I'm going to explain to you and hopefully show you how you can do it without it being as confrontational as it might appear. So, boundaries. If you're not prepared to take technology completely away, you have to put boundaries on when your child uses technology. So, I put down at the bottom here, like, treat it like it's the 1980s, right? Or the 70s, right? Like, when I grew up, we had Saturday morning cartoons and we had TV after homework only, and we were not allowed to have the TV on during mealtime. I knew a few families that did, but we were not one of them. And that was because my parents had set up a boundary. So within your family unit, without your child's input as the adult, or adults, you want to set up the boundaries that you want to have with your child. So if you're going to say you've got an hour after you're done all of your schoolwork, if you don't finish your schoolwork, you don't get that hour. Or if you say 2 hours, if you say 3 hours, just remember that, again, it's an addiction. So if you're feeding your child or allowing your child to have 4 or more hours of online time, that is really like stirring the pot with the addiction, right? The other part to this is monitoring. And I'm going to give you some suggested apps at the end that are low cost that you can use to be able to monitor what it is that your child is doing online. And I put this down here, and this is something that petrifies me, but I have to say it. Please remember that when you give your child a cell phone or access to the internet, you are not giving your child the world. You are giving the world access to your child, because there are no websites out there, none, zero, zilch, that can guarantee that that person that your child is talking to or that person that is posting videos is a child, is under the age of 13, 16, 18, whatever the age cap is. There's no guarantee of that. And so it's really important that when we look at technology as adults, we really understand and accept that if your child has a cell phone, even if you have all these locks and protective measures and tell them that they can't download certain apps and things like that, you are still actually handing the world access to your child, which is literally I've got goosebumps with that. Okay, so this is the reason why boundaries are important. And this is why I was saying, please don't cut off, because I really want to show how science has actually proven these things. Science actually proved these many, many moons ago, but they've reproved them with the introduction of technology and this tech addiction that many kids have. So number one, creating boundaries for your child creates a predictive environment for them. Predictive environments for children create safety. So biologically, when a child is in middle school, they begin to pull away from their family. They begin to separate themselves. And that looks like them slamming doors and saying, "You don't own me," and all of that. You know, we all went through it, right? It's hormonal. We know that it's hormonal. But the reality is, the vast majority of us, meaning like 90% of us, are going to come back to our families closer than ever. And parents will say, "Oh, it's because they had a child and they need me." But the reality is that if you've gone back to your parents and if your child comes back to you, it's because you've created a safe and predictable environment that your child can understand and accept while they're going through that period of trying to stretch their boundaries. So if you have your boundaries set and firm, it is predictable. It is something that they know, and it creates a safe internal space for them. Additionally, it teaches authority. As we know, with boundaries, there's authority that's being taught. And if your child has been able to step over the bounds of authority for quite a while, it's going to be a painful adjustment to put that frame back into place. But if you do it now, you will have way fewer problems in high school. And then also it teaches consequences for actions. And by consequences, I don't necessarily mean like negative reinforcement, like negative. It doesn't have to be negative, but every action has a consequence afterwards, whether it's positive or negative. There's something that comes after, right? And if you set boundaries, that teaches your child that if they cross those boundaries, there is an action that occurs afterwards, regardless of what it is. The reality is that kids, even in middle school, they do not necessarily comprehend a talking to. You know, I'm not suggesting that you don't give chances to your child or talk to them. But what research says is that negative consequences change behavior. Positive reinforcement reinforces behavior. So if you're giving your child only positive reinforcement, it's only going to continue to reinforce whatever the action and behavior is. If you give your child only negative consequences, then it's literally going to beat them down so that they have no motivation to be able to do anything. So the idea is to start seeing consequences not just as negatives, but actually creating the frame for the child and using the conversations and or positive reinforcement as a support for them staying in the frame, because that then encourages them to do it more often. If what I just said was way too fast, or if you haven't heard it worded that way before, feel free to reach out to me, or rewind the video and slow it down. I just don't want to take up a ton of time with things that many middle school parents may have heard before because they have sought support other places. So if you pause it and you read it, or you reach out to me, I am definitely here to support and help with regards to anything having to do with homeschooling, not just necessarily A plus virtual learning. So, these are helpful sites that you can use to help with your monitoring. They're low cost. So as you can see, the very first one, Custudio, it has, there are different programs and different levels of programs. So you do have a free option, and it doesn't really offer too much. But if you pay like $4.58 or $5 a month, it's annually $126, I think is what it was noted as. You basically have the advanced features. It says things like location monitoring, which, if your child's being homeschooled, you probably know where they are at all times. But it does let you see where it is that your kid's going online so that you can monitor their apps. It doesn't mean that you have to be connected to it 24/7 or whatnot, but just having the peace of mind of understanding where they're going and who it is that they're talking to is enough to let them know, I can't read your messages. I can't read the specifics, but we have to, as a team, support you as you're transitioning to become an adult, because the world is a really huge place. And if I just dropped you off in the middle of the Amazon, I wouldn't be a good parent. That's part of the world. And the Amazon is part of the world. And if I just give you a cell phone, that is the whole world. So it's basically the equivalent of dropping you off in the Amazon with a tent and saying, good luck. I'll meet you back in my hometown, right? So that is a low cost option. There's other ones that are listed here. That last paragraph there has multiple ones listed that you can look through. Bark is another one. Norton Family. There, a lot of these, I think, from my experience, parents have sort of like gone through in multiple ways. So it's not just literally not just sticking with one, but sort of bouncing through a couple until they find one that suits their family. But I was trying to keep it under 15 minutes, and it looks like I achieved that. So my goal today was to give you the apps that you could use that are low cost to help monitor your kids online. Also, to explain why setting boundaries and monitoring is essential. And also, hopefully within this, you were able to get some wording and verbiage to speak to your kid to explain why this has to occur and what it is that you need to do as a parent. And again, if you need like one-to-one and you want to be able to walk something through, if there's specific extenuating circumstances, there are kids that require online interaction at this point. And if you were to take it away, just like any other addiction, just ripping the Band-Aid off, they physically and emotionally would not be able to cope or survive. And tapering off ends up being the best course of action. I would, though, encourage you to seek support so that you're not doing this alone, and also seek support from a professional. So I do have a lot of experience, but I am not a professional with regards to technology addiction. So if you come to me, I can offer you my experience based on my 25 years of work in education. And I can also help you find somebody who might be more qualified if there is a need beyond just setting firmer boundaries, monitoring, and then making sure that your kids do understand that there is a real live reason for that. And what those reasons are. So hopefully that gives you a springboard, and it was really nice being able to deliver this information, and hopefully we can talk soon. Okay, bye.